Hey friends, Dwayne here, and I want to welcome you to your Monday Mandate, where my heart is to see you have a victorious week, a week of amazing spiritual growth, fruitfulness, and personal development. And today I want to share shortly with you about growing your muscle of resilience, because guess what? We all have a muscle and it's called resilience. And with its capacity, it helps us to go through circumstances of hardship and be able to withstand them, as well as to recover quickly when such circumstances seem to knock us off our feet. In fact, that's the very definition of the word. It's when, again, life comes and it stretches you to the limit, but you have the elasticity to not break, but to come back into right form and posture. And I believe this is something that God wants to give us as we go through some of these very difficult seasons in life that are presented to us. Just recently, we had Hurricane Beryl pass through the Caribbean region. We've experienced major destruction in certain islands. And what we've seen in the midst of what has been very destructive, we've seen a silver lining of community, of nations coming together, of people holding hand in hand and helping others rebuild stronger and rebuild better. We've seen people that could have thrown their face in the ground and say, God, why me? Arising to the place where they are filled with the capacity to grow out of this moment, and they're being helped by community. What a beautiful thing. In fact, just this weekend, I experienced the same as I was going through some rubbish, again, that was caused by the hurricane, helping someone out, and some other guys saw and they came over. And when I went through a small space to enter this room, because it was a space knocked out by a rock, to get some stuff, oh my goodness, those other guys saw a window and said, we can come in there and help. And they jumped in, and, we were all working together. And so we are seeing this beautiful thing called community. We're seeing others like my friend Suan, again, who works at the United Nations. They're positioned in Washington, D.C., releasing encouraging articles, helping us, again, to deal with, again, the processes of how these things affect our mental health and bringing such conversations to light. So, again, the whole man can be addressed, and so that we can arise out of these moments, again, not destroyed, but growing into a greater people. And so resilience is having that muscle to become just that, to become better, even in the midst of the sour. And friends, I was with my boys just recently, and we were, going through some basketball drills. They love basketball, just like me. I played basketball throughout my life. And as we were going through these drills, I was helping my son adjust his shot. Again, my eldest son, and he had to adjust his shot, because how he was shooting, it wasn't proper form. And so he could have took that moment as a sign of me rejecting him. You can't shoot well. But there is a way, if you invoke it into your practice, you might become a better shooter. And so in the midst of hearing my shot is not working, he heard it could work, and he gleaned instruction from that and leaned into the positive. And I used an example that I personally went through when I was playing, or trying out rather, for my college team. I remember when the coach came to me and he saw me and he said, listen, you are a good shooter, because my responsibility on the team was a shooting guard. That was my position. I love to shoot the basketball. And he said, you are a great shooter, but you are a set shooter, meaning your feet are planted, all right? And a set shooter tends to be slower than something called a jump shooter, who tends to be quicker off the ball. And he said, listen, at this level, the speed of the game increases. In fact, at every professional level, as you go through different sports, the speed gets faster. And so you have to be faster. And he said, I can't do nothing with a set shooter. You're a great shooter. You hit shots, but I need a jump shooter. You're probably not going to make the team. Now, when he told me this, immediately voices of rejection came to my mind. Voices that said, you see, you're not good enough. You see all that work you put in, it was worth nothing. And again, those voices of rejection came in. But you know what I had to do? I had to make a decision. Am I going to receive destruction from this moment, or am I going to receive instruction? Instruction would have said to me, hey, coach doesn't need a set shooter. He needs a jump shooter. And so work to become a jump shooter. Grow into something new. Recreate, reinvent yourself. And that's the instruction that came. And I had to lean into that, because you see, guys, when we experience moments, again, of difficulty, even words that come our way that, make us feel defeated, We can choose to lean into rejection and be rejected, but we could also choose to reject rejection and receive instruction from the moment, where as we lean into what has been said, though it might have been hard words, we don't hear just a negative voice that speaks against our value, but we hear, okay, this is how you can improve. And we make a decision to grow into that. So we reject rejection, number one. If you're going to grow your muscle of resilience and these hard things happen to you, you can't go in a corner and cry, God, why me? I mean, God will often let you cry it out, get it out, vent it out. But again, after that process, you still have to grow it out, okay? And so I could have stayed in that posture, but a light came on and said, okay, you have to receive in order to resolve. You see, we reject the rejection, you receive instruction in order to resolve. And then what do? You recreate. I had to make a determination. Okay, I'm going to take 500 shots a day because I wanted to make the team. And so here am I, and I'm practicing jump shooting. 500 shots a day. My friend is passing back out the basketball to me, and I'm doing this repeatedly. And then I come back to practice, you see, because now I've recreated my shot. I've reinvented myself. I've brought in new methodologies and new strategies to help me with the problem that was presented. And now the coach says, my goodness, you are a jump shooter. You are jump shooting and you're hitting your shots. Listen, and you know what happened? I ended up on the team. But what did I have to do? I had to reject rejection. I had to receive instruction and not destruction in order to resolve. And then I had to recreate, and then I had to repeat what I recreated, 500 shots a day with a new type of shot. And then in repeating it, I rebounded, and I was able to get back up and make a place on that team. And not just a place, I ended up being the starting shooter. And I was encouraging my son through that, saying, listen, it may feel difficult to make these adjustments now, but they're going to pay off in the long run. And these are the things I want to encourage you, because you see, resilience, again, it is often something that doesn't just happen or resolve itself in a moment, but it's a muscle we need to have in order to endure. In fact, James says in James 1:2-4, he says, count it all joy when you go through various types of trials, because the testing of your faith produces patience. And then he says, okay, don't quit on patience now. It's going to take some time to see some fruit from this. But he says, let patience have its perfect work. In other words, take the time. Don't jump out of the pot. Again, we say these statements like, let him cook. Let yourself cook. As you go through the process, as you make those adjustments. And he says, okay, as patience has its perfect work, then you will be made mature and complete, lacking nothing. In other words, you're going to grow through the moment, and you're going to come into the place and posture of growing into your next level, of again being able to step into that space that is for you, even though you might have heard, just like me when the coach said, it's not for you. You don't have a jump shot. But again, it doesn't mean that the door is closed. It just means you need new methodologies, you need new strategies in order to rebound. All right, friends. And so I want to encourage you with this today as you go into your week. Don't allow your head to drop. Don't put your tail between your legs and just walk away from that blessing that is in front of you because it's hard, because there's difficulty, because you might have had something happen that was very destructive. In fact, as I said, there's something to glean and learn through it. And if we can look beyond the destruction, what has affected us negatively, and see the instruction, we will be far better for it. Friends, I leave you with that. Grow your muscle of resilience and overcome and rise up to your new dimension. Blessings.